understand I'm stronger than before.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a really special evening. We have an amazing live stream scheduled for you tonight because not only are we introducing one of the new shows and show hosts joining Prospera TV Network, but just to give him the honor and recognition that I feel he truly deserves because he is bringing a subject to the table that I believe everyone should be discussing, and why it's taken this long to come across somebody who's ready to just like open up the door on the conversation of men's mental health. Like, let's just talk about men's mental health. And I think coming from a man that seems extremely strong, extremely confident, has it together, is leading the way, it takes you by surprise that, like, wow, what do you know about this topic? Where's this coming from? We want to know. What can you teach us? What can we learn from you? How can we help our kids with this? So I'm just really excited to bring him up tonight, to honor him tonight, and also to congratulate him because his show is actually going to be premiering tomorrow night on Prospera TV Network, on Roku, on Stream, on the YouTube, like all the platforms. And we are just honored to have him. So before we like get into anything or waste any more time, I want to bring him up. His name is Jamaal Cottrell. He is joining us from San Antonio, Texas. And this is his show. Let's bring him on here. Hello, mister.
Hey, that was an amazing introduction. I appreciate that.
Well, that's how we roll around here at Prospera TV Network. So we've got Elena Rodriguez on her. She says, howdy from Texas. Gina's in the Fort Worth area. So you guys are just a few hours apart. But Jamaal, like, number one, like, let's just dive into this. Please tell a little bit of, just a little background on yourself. Let people feel like you're in their living room and they can get to know you a little bit. And then we'll dive into some stuff.
Oh, yeah, just a little bit about me. Born and raised Chicago, Illinois. Grew up on the west side and the south side. Joined the military, did 20 years, and now I'm retired and residing here in San Antonio, Texas.
Nice. I love that. And okay, so when you say 20 years and retired, you make me feel old because you can't be like retirement age. So that means you
retired 2018. So wow, that's almost that's 8 years. So yeah, I've been there for a while.
So you must have went into the military pretty young.
21. I went in at 21.
Okay. I'm trying to do the math.
Retired at 41.
There you go. All right. Okay. So let's just tell us a little bit about your show. Okay. Silent No More. Where did that come from? Why are you passionate about it? Like, just tell us a little bit about where the show concept came, where it came for you.
It came about just kind of over the last 12 to 14 months. Life be life. And so just kind of going through some things and talking to friends and, a lot of people's relationships are, kind of going through turmoil, speaking with a lot of men, and they haven't necessarily had people to speak with. Some of them are stressing. Some of them are suffering with, PTSD, not just military members, but, other folks I know that lost a loved one during COVID, are kind of going through survivor's remorse. So everybody's kind of got something that they're going through out there, but nobody's really talking to anybody. Everybody's kind of trying to deal with it on their own, kind of muscle through with it. And so it's almost amazing that, there's so many platforms out there, but they're specifically kind of geared toward certain demographics. And with me, I didn't see a lot of stuff because I myself was going through something and currently still going through something. And I didn't have anybody to refer to. And often, we kind of hope and, think that friends and family would look out. And it's just a time where, people are kind of more, not as social anymore. Everybody's claiming to be introverts nowadays. That seems to be the buzzword. And so people are kind of going through things and they're kind of suffering in silence. So for me, I've kind of gone through my process and I realized it's like, wow, this really, you look out for people every day.
Yeah.
You kind of walk through because depending on your lifestyle, you're the type of person, you're a helper, you're a healer. You're always looking to, give advice to help someone out. But then it comes to when you may need something yourself and you look around and you look to your left and to your right and, it's just you and that person in the mirror. So that just caused me to do some self-reflecting, some self-evaluating and, start putting me in the mind of how can I get out of this?
Wow. And so then I'm wondering then, once you opened yourself up to the idea, like, because I know for me, sometimes I hear my little whispers from God of the nudge of this is what you're supposed to do. This is where I'm leading you. And I remember telling him one time, like, I think you got the wrong person because that is not something that is in my scope that I'm looking to do. And he's like, no, I will map it out for you, but you got to say yes. So do you feel that that when you had these ideas and things were like stirring, did you kind of think you were nuts in the beginning of like, who am I to like start this show or were you like, okay, I'm going to do it? Did you question it?
I questioned it only because one of my biggest fears is being in front of the camera. So I definitely questioned it because of that. I questioned it. I actually tried to get other people involved over the last couple of years, and everybody's like, I don't think so. I pitched several ideas. I've been on so many podcasts and talk shows, and nobody wanted to do it. So I've always kind of been that person that just kind of, if nobody else will do it, I'll do it. And that's also has been one of my greatest downfalls. I mean, that's ego.
Man, are you telling me I got ego too?
Yeah. So, so that's what kind of led me into doing it was, you know what? I don't need anybody. I don't need this. Let me build something. And then if I build something and people show up, then inadvertently I'll have the people that showed up.
Yep.
If that makes any sense. So if, like they say, if you build it, they'll come. So that was more or less the mindset and the concept.
I love that. And I'm really glad that we had started having, it's amazing because we had been having conversations like for over a year. I think I was like talking about my event in Texas and just kept falling through. And then all of a sudden, like here we are with your show. So I truly feel like sometimes there's a timing or a divine purpose and everything's God's hands, God's time. Right. So we got Yada joining us. Hello, Yada. Great to have you here tonight. So when we get into Silent No More, when people are going to be tuning in, like let's talk about your show a little bit and then we'll get into some conversation. What should they expect? Like if they're going to want to be like, oh, Jamaal show's coming on, Silent No More, it's Wednesday night, like let me tune in. What should they start expecting if they want to tune in and catch your show?
I would say honesty, truth, empathy, stories, scenarios, speaking with other men and seeing if we can create a case study and maybe have other men call in and see if they can relate and see how we can maybe solve some things that people are maybe going through right now. Again, you talk about buzzwords, and another one of those words is therapy. But for me, getting straight to the point, coaching. Let's identify the problem, and then let's develop a nice process. And then 12-step process, and then let's work the problem. Not knocking therapy or anything, but we know some people, based on their personalities, need to get a little bit more into it and go straight to the source and fix it. Not necessarily go through that process, of sitting down with the counselor. So that's what you can expect. Not giving anybody any medical, solutions or advice or anything of that nature. Just talk about things within the realm and the scope of what we can talk about and share experiences, and just provide an opportunity for men to come somewhere, feel safe, be open, and look to build.
I love that. So I love, because when you use the word therapy, I feel like with you being Coach Trell, now that's, I think, what you go by, it's almost like you're taking a subject matter and you're putting the lens of let's move forward. Let's take all of this and do something forward. Like, yes, it happened. Yes, you could ruminate it. Yes, we could talk about it like every single day, and it's not going to change unless we actually change things forward. And I think that just carries a different energy. It gives people hope. Like, I do have these problems. I do have this pain. I do have all of this, but coming from a new perspective of like, yeah, you do. And so now what? Let's do let's do something forward with it. Like, I got it too. So
Right,
come on
right,
now,
right,
right?
right,
And I think
right.
that sometimes some people just do need that. It's like a little kick in the booty. It's acknowledging, yep, it hurts, but we still got to move. Like, you twist your ankle, you got to wrap it up. We still got to go. And so I think that's just a fresh perspective that we need right now. People need it right now.
Yeah, I would say it's fresh. It's definitely not new. That's something I learned from my grandmother. You know what I mean? If you fall down, get up. Don't just sit there.
Yeah.
If you have a little situation outside, come home when that situation is taken care of.
Yeah.
Or come get some resources so you can go out there and execute. But it wasn't, accepting failure. It was definitely rejecting mediocrity and those type of things. And so definitely bringing back an old school perspective with a fresh mentality.
Yeah, we need that. And I also want to be sure to thank you for your service, because being in the service for that long. What branch of the service were you in?
You said that long.
Well, I had a cousin that was in the Navy. In fact, he lived in San Antonio, and he went in, and he was in for quite a while. He lived in Italy and stuff, and but then it was just like, he was done. He followed his dream, and he started playing piano and singing at Holiday Moon and different things like that. But when clearly you could go in and serve your first 4 years, or is that like the first, and then you could be done. But obviously, like, you stayed in for a while. So what branch of service were you in?
I was in the Air Force.
Okay.
Yeah, I stayed in. I did 20 years like everybody else. Well, I never had any intentions of going in. It was more or less a path that kind of aligned.
I was going to say, was it either you're going to go to jail or you go here? Because I know people that had that choice to make. Like, you can go here or you can go here. And
right. So I graduated from alternative high school. I was very successful. I was 1 out of 12. I was the valedictorian. So that was always a running joke, around Christmas time. But for me, I was really proud of it. I mean, you know what I mean? Out of 12 people, I kicked ass and I was the best one. So.
Okay, so I have to share something. Okay, we got Christina on here too. So this is why I crack up, because I love these kinds of conversations, because these are things that people don't know. All right. So a little backstory for me is I was in high school. I was pom-pom captain, all of these things, student council. And my senior year of high school, I ran away from home to live with my boyfriend in Illinois. And he was in a band and all this stuff. So I run away. I'm living with his whole family, and I enroll myself in that high school that was like huge. I mean, it was like so many people. But anyway, he got offered to go to alternative school. And I'm like in high school and, navigating my new school, all these people, I don't know what. And I was like, what's alternative school? And the way that it was painted to me, I was like, I want to do that too. And I was like, I get to work at my own pace, and I get to do, and I already had enough credits to graduate back home, but I wanted to live there. And to graduate from that high school, I had to go to summer school for PE. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. So I go to the alternative school, and I'm like going through, and I ended up having to come home just to graduate, because I would have had to still get that PE credit. And I was like, screw this, I can already just graduate. But I come back, and I'm meeting with my counselors back home to get back on track. And I remember telling them, I came across this great thing. It was called alternative school, and I could work at my own pace. And they're looking at me like,
look at that.
So that just goes to show you, I was so naive. I was intelligent in my book smarts and stuff like that, but I had never heard of alternative school. But I thought it was the most amazing thing in the world, because it gave me my freedom to like move at my own pace. But there were only like 8 of us in there. So that's just if anybody's tuning in, it goes to show you it don't matter where you come from, you
Right.
can still own your own business and empire someday. So
Well, that's what I'm trying to tell them. You know what I mean? So, you know, a perfect segue. So that's what I kind of do now. I just when I spoke at a couple of the universities here in San Antonio, to some of the at-risk youth, and then, you know, working with some of the other organizations, and that's what they wanted us basically to talk about was, you know, that you still can do something, you know, good with yourself. You know, it's not too late, especially with these young individuals. They're like 16, 17 years old, even though nowadays they're more engaged and more in depth, you know, to those things at an early age. But the fact that they're attending, you know, college, university seminars means they were still reachable. So it was a great event. But yeah, telling that story, it was a hit. Everybody could relate to it. So I've learned to kind of embrace that, something that I kind of been shamed and made fun of for a long time.
Yeah, it makes you real though. And I think that that's what people need to see is that you've been there too. We've been through it, you know,
Right.
and it doesn't mean you stay there. We got Christina laughing over here. Gina's like, she is not kidding. Christina lives in New Braunfels, right next door to San Antonio. So
Okay.
yeah, you know,
Wine country.
so while we're kind of on the topic, I want to bring up something that I heard you on an interview of another show host, Tish Ross. She had you as a guest on No Judgment Here, and that'll be airing on your platform as well, so people can tune into that. But you said something that blew my mind. Like I'm gonna be 52 years old, and I have been playing my sad story violin for, you know, all these years, and I have never heard this perspective, and I think that it's amazing, and I want to bring it up. So if anybody that is tuning in out there can relate to the term latchkey kid, back when we were the ones that like branded it, because we were the ones that were coming home and just handling our business, you know, while our parents were working. If you ever felt like you were a latchkey kid, you know, I looked at that not in a bad way. I didn't really think I looked at it in any way. It was just I was home and I'd open up my Chef Boyardee and eat my spaghetti and meatballs, and you know, just there was dinner. And if my mom's watching, love you, mama. It's all good. Because once you hear this perspective, you're going to know why I am. But here's the thing. So you said that when you look at the latchkey kid, let's just call it era, that time, that we were actually developing our own management skills, our own leadership skills, or even strategic, you know, thinking skills, like all of these things. Talk about that for a minute, because I love it. I feel like a genius.
Well, I mean, so you have to think about it, and I'll just explain a summer day in my house, because if we went to bed, it was about 2:30, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. We didn't have AC, so the fan was in the window. People were running around the neighborhood. You know, people were in and out the house. You know, just a great time. And my house was kind of like the party house. My mother had all the family come over, and we were just, it was just the place to be. So from the time, and I was in a single family home. So the time my mother went to work, it was basically game time. The day started. You was racing the clock from the time that she was gone to the time, you know, the time she got to the train, off the train, you know, got to the parking lot, you know, drove home. We had it down to a T. The strategic thinking in that, right? So you're talking about logistics within itself, just transportation. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
You're talking about routes. You're talking about all these type of things, and the developing in the brain, whether good, bad, or indifferent, the process that you're going through. Because we're focusing on the process, you know, not the intentions at that particular point in time. Is the things that we're doing, and everybody had a role. It was all, and just like now, everything was about roles and responsibilities. So whoever got up at a certain time, you took care of X, Y, and Z. Somebody mopped the floor. You know what I mean? So essentially, you can move on to soft skills and soft tasks in the restaurant era because, those are positions, janitorial engineer, you know what I mean? Administrative assistant.
Look at folks, how early we were building our resumes.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Think about the skills, right, that we had. And then depending on as you develop when you went to school, so now you was given, additional skills and what you did with those skills and you combine them with the skills in your home, right? But then you think about some people that had two parents in the home and they didn't get to do certain things because the parents may have did things for them until they were a certain age. So they necessarily didn't develop those motor skills and those functions, the logistical thinking, and, the nature versus nurture. Because if you're an older sibling in the home and you got younger siblings, you're making sure you're feeding them. You're making sure they're being bathed. You're doing all the essential skills as a child development center. You're entertaining them while they're sitting in front of a television. You're reading them a book and then telling them to go outside and figure it out. It doesn't matter. You can label that as empowerment. You know what I mean? So it's all about perspective and how you're looking at things. And then when you look at
I gotta laugh here real quick because I just envisioned like two siblings, like one babysitting, fighting, and he's like, "Hey, just sit down. I'm empowering you right now."
Right? But think about it. You see the memes and people give the third kid the remote that's not plugged to anything, right? You had to be creative and ingenuitive to come up with something to entertain that person, even though they're not connected to anything else, but they feel a part of the team. So, it just says the way you grew up, it was all about structure, design, teamwork, team building, cohesion. And you look at everything now, it's all individualized. And it's at the same time, it was happening simultaneously because you look at the music. The music from back then was independent. It was all about it, nobody needing anybody. Everybody kind of doing things on their own. So as we were developing and learning those skills, we would go and listen to the auditory learning of deprogramming everything that we were learning. So it's kind of crazy when you look at the balance and the duality of what was going on in that time frame.
Yeah, and it really just blew my mind. Oh, Gina says that was me with Elena. Gina's my sister. I don't know if you know that's my sister. So we're 7 years older, and I feel like I took care of her sometimes, and she took care of me sometimes. But there you go, Gina. You can update your resume now. But no, honestly, I really feel that is such an amazing perspective because I don't think, maybe people have seen it that way before, but I know I had never heard that. I had never looked at it from that viewpoint until I was watching your guys' show, and I'm like, OMG, that's freaking amazing. But it's true, It's true. I remember I had my first job. My parents were entrepreneurs, and so I grew up in the restaurant business. And while my young friends were playing dolls and school teacher and house and all these things, our downstairs basement had an 8-seat bar. It was a legit party house. And I'm taking all the glasses, filling them with water. And I'm like, we are playing bar today. And, that was just kind of my skill set. I learned how to serve you, take your money, and, what else do you need? So it's just amazing at what you pick up and you don't actually realize that that's what it is. And I think we have lost that. We kind of have lost that because everything is handed, everything is digital, everything is instantaneous. You don't really have to think for yourself much anymore,
Yeah, what happens with that is, you don't develop that appreciation for anything. Mm-hmm. And that was the biggest issue when everybody was getting a trophy back in the day and everybody's like, oh, hell no. Because if you don't develop that work ethic and you don't develop those small rewards as you're going through it, that's when you learn that appreciation and that gratitude versus somebody giving you something. Now it's entitlement, you know what I mean? And, the lack of appreciation. So you're not going to work hard to gain that appreciation. Now you're searching for validation. You know what I mean? So, and that's the world we live in now with the likes and the, people being able to unfriend you or no contact, as they call it now. Then that becomes, we start getting into those gray waters of narcissistic personalities because essentially we're breeding narcissists, in America and everywhere else. But America first, because the way everybody's personality, we're the best at everything, we're the best military, best sports, best. and everybody individually thinks they contributed to it. And some people just
Or the best because of me.
right. Yeah. So again, it's about perspective and mindset. So yeah,
Yeah.
those are the issues that we're having now.
So you mentioned a word that is like in my brain, and that's narcissist. And so here we go. This is where the conversation flows. I had never heard that term, the word, like I had never heard of it until my husband that passed away on Christmas Eve of 2018, until he died, and I started digging into what was this that I got going on? Like what is happening here? I had never even heard that term. I had never even known there was like narcissistic disorder. I just honestly thought he was just a moody son of a bitch. Like I just thought like I just got who I got, and I didn't know if it was going to be a good day or a bad day. I didn't know if he was going to talk to me or ignore me for 3 days, but I never knew that term. But now that I know it's almost irritating how everyone's narcissistic and everyone's toxic. Like you see those words everywhere. How do we truly identify what it really is, and not just, a blanket term that people put on, something when it's just a relationship that didn't work out? Like, how do we distinguish that difference? I mean, do you have insight on that?
Well, you distinguish the difference because I mean, if they're not open to feedback, then you know what I mean.
So there are signals, like there are.
What? Yeah, I mean, so if you pull up, what the signals of being narcissistic is, just like anything else, is if somebody identifies and says, "Hey, you're exhibiting those symptoms, signals, red flags, whatever it is jargon and terminology you're going to use," and if that person is refuting it or not even open to listening, then I think you can probably dig a little deeper and go further. But because, like I just said, a lot of people, just by nature of who we are as people in America, naturally exhibit it. If you play in a sport, if you were in the military, I mean, it's a way of thinking that you have to have in order to be successful in what you do. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. But the trick comes into play is when somebody identifies it or you self-identify, what do you do with it at that particular point? That's when it becomes narcissistic. If you deny it, if you're, in complete denial that, you aren't, everybody's wrong but you, if you change your social circle and then the exact same thing happens in there, just like everything else, at some point, it can't be everybody else but you. You got to take a look in the mirror. But I mean, there's checks and balances to everything. So,
yeah. So I should have known when we tried 2 different counselors and he said they were both wrong.
Well, and that's why I say about, therapy and counselors and things, because, the human factor is always in the play. And for me, what I say is before you go to couples, you should probably go to individual counseling. Mm-hmm. Work on yourself first. A lot of people are relying on people outside of their relationships to make them happy, to provide some type of fulfillment. And 1 or 2 issues are probably happening. The first one is the lack of communication, right? They're probably not communicating correctly what exactly it is they want to say because they're in fear of rejection or how it's going to happen or whatever the case may be. And then 2, the other person on the receiving end is probably not receiving it because the other person is probably not conveying it the way that they want to, or they're not receiving the results from what they're conveying. They're not, because a lot of times people will say, well, you're not doing this, and the person is doing exactly what they're saying, but they're so used to saying they aren't and going through the patterns that they convince themselves that no matter what that person does, it's going to satisfy their need or whatever the case may be that they're lacking. And that's why they have to work on themselves first.
Yeah, and I love that. I remember hearing one time, and it has stuck with me. Do you remember Paul Martinelli?
Yeah.
Okay, so I absolutely love Paul Martinelli, but years ago he said, we all hear with our ears, but we listen with our emotions. Right. And I just really never forgot that, because it does make you feel like you can say something to 5 different people and they will get the same sentence, but what they actually hear is very different based on, are they in defense mode? Are they in love? Like however they're feeling, they might take it.
Based on if they've healed from their past traumas or not.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is majority of folks haven't, right?
Yeah.
And what happens is that's when the emotional feeling comes into place, the emotional thinking. And that's when, like you said, that they're on the defensive. Yeah. Because if every time you talk to somebody, they're defensive about something, that means they haven't healed from a trauma, from a relationship, or whoever berated them privately before to you.
Yeah.
The thing is when people get into relationships and they have conversations, everybody's lying, right? Nobody's really being honest. Because at the end of the day, I'm hoping that we have another drink. But if I tell you, if you're irritating the shit out of me right now about what you're doing, we probably won't progress more into this. But so we're going to tell each other what we want to hear in order till we get to a comfortable place. And then the issue becomes, well, you didn't have this problem before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And these are all common, issues and problems that we have. And that's because we're in a space now where nobody is can deal with constructive criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Or feedback, any type of feedback whatsoever. Oh, you don't like this? I'll go find somebody that does.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. That's where that block. Yeah. What do they say? Block next. And it's like, it's terrible. I mean, because you never get into the depth of what really matters. I know for me, like I said, after he passed is when I started going on my healing journey. And man, let me tell you, it took me back to the root, because I wanted to know, like, how did I get here? Like, how did I make the choices that actually got me in this type of emotional abusive relationship? I was an active participant. I chose something in that. And so I remember when God's like, you're going to get married someday, you're going to, and I was like, oh, hell, like I got work to do because I ain't doing this again. And that took me on that journey. And it's amazing because it was back when I was 8 years old, when my dad left, when I watched him drive away. Like, so a lot of people aren't willing to go through that pain of like, I envision it like digging up that root. You can cut the weed off from the top and make it look pretty for a while, but it's going to come back up. It's going to, unless you actually dig down and pull it up. And so it took me years. It took me a good 5 years to identify and then work on me. Like you said, you got to like love yourself. You've got to accept yourself, heal, like do the things, but it was a choice. It was a choice that I had to show up for. And I had to figure it out. Like I had to figure out, how do I start loving myself when if I look in the mirror, I hate who I see? How did you get here? So I just love these conversations because I know that there are people out there that are in it and don't know how to get that ball rolling to move forward. And I love the approach that you are going to bring your viewers. And that is, here it is. So what do we do forward? What kind of process can we put in place to actually move things forward instead of just, talk about how bad it is? Like, cause yeah, it can be, but what are you going to do? And like, let's put that plan and pace forward. So I love that you're bringing that, that you're bringing a portion of that for your viewers.
No, thanks. I appreciate that. Cause that's, gift and a curse. It's awesome if it makes you feel great, but the moment it makes you have to go back and self-reflect, you'll feel like Samuel L. Jackson's talking to you in the female voice.
Yep. We've got, what do we got? Gina said, I didn't know about gaslighting or that was happening to me. Okay. Yep. That's a true thing. Okay. And Jennifer Hamilton says facts. All right. So y'all are relating to us tonight. So one of the things that I wanted to bring up, and I think why, I think we have amazing shows on Prospera TV Network. We have amazing show hosts. We have amazing topics, and we're just amazing, right? That's my ego right there for you folks. But why I feel that this is really important is I have 2 sons, and right now they're going to be 21 and 25 this year. They will turn those ages. But through all of those years that I was in my shit, like that I was shut down in my own stuff, I wasn't. I was there, but I wasn't. And so when you talk about like those development skills that, I overcompensated to do things for them, thinking that made me feel like a good mom now. Like, you don't have to do your laundry. I got it. You don't have to do that. I got it. Like, let me take care of you, because I know for a while I mentally checked out. And now it's kind of like, are they self-sufficient? Are they going to do this? Now they struggle with certain things. So when you talk about like mental health, talking about this topic, I know my oldest son, he has gone and gotten helps at different times. And he did not get the best help while he was in some of these places. He was treated pretty poorly. So it almost had a negative impact. But what can you tell, especially the young men? Because I know I'm not the only mom that has like gone to work and wondered, when I get home, I hope my son is breathing. I hope he's still alive. I know that for years I felt like I couldn't sleep because if I wake up, will he still be breathing? I mean, it was that true fear that was going on all the time. And just for the moms out there, who are raising young men and even daughters too, but there's something about having to raise young men alone as a single mother, holding down the fort, having all the answers. But how do we give them that support that they need during those most critical years when we're trying to handle everything else? Like, just from the man's perspective, what could you say that you needed years ago?
What I needed years ago. Well, you want me to answer what I needed, or you want me to answer about the moms first?
Probably the moms first.
Okay, so for the moms, I would say the same thing you did for the birthday, that you got that gift that his face lit up to the sky. The same thing you did when you saw he didn't get a good grade that he wanted, or in the game he missed a kick and you said that encouraged him, or maybe just a hug. Sometimes it's not always about, the external things. Sometimes it's the internal things. Sometimes young men just want a hug and I love you, right? So let's start with that. And so then going from there is maybe just having a conversation. I think in so many situations, we look past the simple things, just really being sincere and showing some empathy, and just trying to have a casual conversation, not being the super mom, the rah. I think we watch too much TV sometimes where we think you have to be these superheroes, and sometimes you just have to be the best version of you, right? And that starts by identifying and understanding which version of you that they may enjoy.
Yeah.
That way, when you go into engage and have those conversations, you can present that best version of you. Or as you see things that may not be going in the right trajectory, you can be more proactive versus reactive, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times we try to fix things after the implosion. And by that point, you're picking up, debris, and you're trying to figure out what the hell. And it's still too late at that point. So
you're collecting all the pieces, trying to figure out what happened.
Yeah. So at that point, I would definitely say that to the moms, you got to be more proactive than reactive. Once you start seeing the signs, identify with it, and then, make the appropriate calls. And sometimes it's okay. Call a friend, an uncle, or, a brother-in-law, or a coach. Look me up.
Yeah.
That's what we come into play, is because you as a parent, you can't fix all things. Some things you just won't be able to understand, as a mom talking to a young man. And it depends on what that, what stage in life that individual is going through. You know what I mean? So expectation management, you can't fix and do all things. Some things you just can't do. No matter what they say in the theme songs and all that other shit that's going on out there, sometimes you just gotta find a man.
What? What is this gibberish you're saying?
Sometimes you gotta call a man. I mean, that's what it is. And that's where the ego comes into play. That's where the ego comes into play. Just like we talk to men, sometimes, mom's got to put the ego to the side, and if dad is still around or when dad is doing positive things or find, a healthy, male to have a conversation and establish a dialogue and a relationship. Even if that's reaching out to your local Boys and Girls Club, mentorship, VFW, or whatever the case may be, all seriousness is, there's plenty of organizations and stuff that's out there.
Yeah. And I love that you say that because, one of the things that I like to talk about is, when you have had to be the one, pick up the pieces, handle this, do that, like as women, we are in our masculine energy and that's already off balance. Like we should not have to live in that space. And so it does make it extremely difficult because our thing is, I got it. I'll figure it out. I can handle it. I can do it. I don't need any help. And, I'm trying to carry the couch by myself, but I got it.
Right.
I'm under 5 feet and it's just a thing that we have. But what I can say, to the moms that are listening is one of the things that I am most proud of is that we did keep the conversation very open. It was very real. It was very raw. They knew that if it was 2 a.m. and they needed talk down, they could knock on my door. They could say, "Hey mom, are you awake?" And whether I was or not, I was now, like we're going to talk about it. And the other thing is in our home, suicide wasn't a bad word. We talked about it. We talked about every angle of it. And some people are like, "Oh my gosh, how could you even talk about suicide?" And it's like, how could you not? Right. Like this was something that we were actually really dealing with. And to the moms out there, when it is excruciating, there were times that I even did call the cops on my son because we could say, "I don't know how to help you right now. Like, I don't know what else to do." And he was saying, "I don't know what to do because I'm not in a good place right now." And so it was like, yeah, call the cops. I mean, we were that vocal and aware, and it was the hardest years, but they were also the most beautiful because I do feel like we connected on the most real, like the real form of we're navigating this and it's hard as hell, but we can look back and he's in a better place. Both of my sons are actually in much better places now, but you look back at this chunk of time and sometimes you just want to lose hope. And so I think to the moms out there, we talked about it. We talked about it and there was no shame. And to us, it was a real thing. It wasn't pray harder. Yes, we did need to pray, but that wasn't the answer. He needed something else. And there was just a lot of shame and blame comes in that too. So to me, it was like, just don't lose hope and realize it is here. Like, it's a thing we have to deal with. We can't shove it under the rug. We can't pretty it up and, make it look like something it's not. This is what it is and it sucks. And I think opening the conversation on that, I would love to see conversation open up on that, whether, you invite me to be on your show a time or two, but I just think from the mom's perspective, like, unless you have a clue, you really don't have a right to an opinion, man, because you don't know what it's like. And that's hard. It's hard. So
I would just say, and I totally understand what you're saying, but I would just say, before you say you don't have a right to opinion, I would just say, again, it just goes back to being open-minded,
no.
Maybe.
That's for all them. That's for all them. They can all be that. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I'll talk about that on my show. Open-minded on my show. Okay, my bad.
Okay, I'll take it now. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it just brings on a fresh perspective. That's all. You don't have to, make it weigh any more or less than what your thoughts already are. But just, remaining to have an open mind. I mean, that could be something that could save somebody's life.
Yeah.
Because you never know what somebody else's experiences may be.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We go back to the whole thing about judging a book by its cover and all that kind of stuff. So just being in the business of listening to people and trying to help people. We don't want to, shut anybody down and close anybody off, because at that particular point, you're trying everything that you can to save somebody's life. So that's why I said
That is true. That is true. So for your show coming up, what, are you looking for guests? Are you open to
You
taking
said guest or deaf? What'd you say?
guests?
Oh,
Guests.
okay.
I would hope. Are you looking for people to bring on? Are you doing panel discussions? Are you open to people sending in questions or topics that maybe they would love to see you dive into? Like, tell people, because I know anybody that catches this. I mean, you and I don't know if it's your training or if it's your history, but you have a way of bringing such a calmness to topics that could be very difficult. Like, you just have this like way of just, calm it down, and here it is. And we, like, some of us need that, right? And so I think, like, are you open to people sending in questions or topics that they would love for you to pick apart or invite them on? Like, kind of tell people what you're looking for your show.
So I'm open to all the above. I would definitely like to hear from anybody's perspective, a man or a woman's perspective, and then just maybe create like even a scenario or a case study, and invite people to chime in, and we just kind of walk through it and talk about different perspectives and points of views, because I think that's the best way to kind of engage and get people to share. I've tried posting on social media. I've tried all that, and men are just out there. Nobody posting or saying anything. I've had some wives next door out, send me some. Hey, my husband wants to join your group. It's like dropping them off at the park, right? Just, hey man, you got some shoes? Yeah, you know what I mean. So,
I'd be like, I'll be back to pick you up.
Right. She's going to Costco. She's dropping them off with me. Like, okay. He's in the corner not talking to nobody. Hey man, I guess you just won't get what you put into it. Yeah. And that's really what it is. And I just want to provide a safe space and an opportunity. I've talked to a lot of people offline, retired military, people that from Navy SEALs to people that work at HEB. I mean, stressed out from COVID, still trying to find their way back. So there's plenty of things to talk about. There's plenty of topics. I just want to be able to provide, men an opportunity. And then even if, there's women out there in relationships and want a second opinion, you know what I mean? You can send something in, we can talk about it and, just kind of have a counsel. And, the thing is, we got to start encouraging people to start communicating and have better conversations, more healthier conversations. Get off the 90-day fiance and all that bullshit that's polluting your mind and that's not teaching you how to, interact with humans. That's not how humans want to interact or be interacted with. Let's get back to getting in contact with humans and, doing what humans do. So.
Yeah. And I think coming off of COVID, that's been extremely difficult. Like that 2-year mark that we all lived behind our screens, that's how I built my business. I had to. I had lost my husband, was losing everything. And then we went into the shutdown. And so it's like, I just started my practice and I was global and just did it behind the screen. So it was so difficult. Like, I got to go meet people. Like, I got to talk to somebody in person. It was scary, actually. And because coming out of that relationship and then dealing with grief, it was a whole mix of emotions that I had to go through. And I didn't realize until I was like in the environment. I was at a business networking meeting, and it was the first time I had to stand up and say like 5 minutes in front of, and I like started bawling. It was the craziest thing, but those moments are good. They do teach you a lot. They taught me that, like, obviously I was not, I put my ego in check. Let's just say that day, I'm like, here, I'm Elena Rodriguez. I'm a coach. And I'm like bawling. And I was like, what the hell? Where's this coming from? And
teaches you resilience, that bounce back. Yeah.
But it was crazy. And I think sometimes when people feel emotion like that, it doesn't feel good, and so you shy away from it. And it was like, nah, it was more intriguing to me. Like, what just happened? And, you have to go through it. So I'm excited for your show coming. It's going to be airing on Wednesdays, correct?
You tell me.
I was wondering if you were going to say, like, is it like what? So for anybody tuning in, yes, I'm president of Prospera TV Network, and we're getting Jamaal all hooked up. What you're going to have tomorrow is his premiere episode, which is could be a combination of this one and another one. We're still kind of putting it together, but it will be airing on Wednesday nights. Every week we will have something airing of Jamaal's Silent No More, and you will find it at 9 p.m. Eastern time, which is 8 p.m. Central time. So I think that it's going to be a great evening show for people to be able to tune in when things have calmed down, settled down, and be able to really reflect and take it all in. I think that your content is going to be really good for that. Natalia on here says, well needed discussion. Thanks for opening the dialogue. Wishing you much success. That's very cool. There you go.
That's awesome.
That's very cool. So one word before we leave. For you, what does like strength and resilience really mean to you? Just share that with your listeners right now.
I would say structure. A solid structure. Mm-hmm. No matter what you say, whether it's foundation, skyscrapers, or whatever the case may be, Chicago having the best skyline in the world. Every great thing is built on a solid foundation and structure. So I would say structure.
I love that. And are you going to be bringing bits of structure into your show for people so that if they're thinking like, I don't even know where to begin, would they find little tidbits of that from you?
Absolutely. And, great question. So I would like to, for people to definitely submit any information or questions, whatever data that, they wanted to discuss or kind of go over. And then that way we could break it down, so that way we can edutain people, educate and entertain at the same time. So definitely, looking into doing that.
Awesome. I love that. All right. So what we need from the people, you can tune in to Silent No More on our YouTube channel. We also have a playlist of his Started. So the promo video is the only video on there right now. But as we go live tomorrow with his show premiere, you can even just lock into his playlist and all of his shows will feed on his playlist. If you choose to watch from Roku television, just download the app Prospera TV Network and you'll be able to catch his shows in 17 countries. Your shows will be on TV in 17 countries. But if you have questions, you can message the Prospera TV Network. You can message Jamaal directly. But really, I am so supportive of this show and I am going to do whatever I can to help get the word out because I can't be in agreement any more than I am right now with what Natalia said, that we need these discussions. And I'm really excited for what you're going to bring to the network.
Hey, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate the opportunity and, the things that people can do when they have a strong support system behind them. You know what I mean? So Look forward to doing great things with Prospera.
I love it. All righty, peeps. We are going to fade out. And what am I cracking up? Because I love everything. I love it. What?
Nothing. Let's do it. Let's get it going.
All right. So what we're going to do as we fade out, guys, is this is his song, his promo video. Be sure to share this out. You can find it on YouTube and you can tune into his show tomorrow evening. And thanks for being here with us tonight. We'll see you guys next time.
I was taught to be strong, but nobody taught me how to speak. This is for the men who carried it quiet. Not anymore. I learned to wear a steady face, even when I couldn't breathe. tuck my pain behind my pride, like it was protecting me. Told myself real men don't break, just push it down and move. But pressure makes a diamond, and sometimes it makes you lose. Every word I never said echoed in my chest. Every night I laid awake, fighting what I suppressed. Silent no more, I'm done fighting this war. What I feel in weakness is something worth fighting for. Silent no more, I'm unlocking the door. If strength is being honest, then I'm stronger than before. Yeah. They told me keep it together, don't let them see you fall. But silence builds a prison out of everything you hold. I don't need to be unshaken, stand up tall and true. There's courage in the breaking, if it's breaking through you. Every wall I ever built started cracking slow. Turns out healing starts when you let somebody know. Silent no more, I won't hide anymore. This voice inside my chest wasn't meant to be ignored. Silent no more, I'm stepping to the floor. If truth is vulnerability, then that's what I'm here for. Inside one word, but I break that chain right here, right now. A man can feel and still stand proud. Yeah. Silent no more, let the silence roar. What I kept in the dark won't